Let me throw a hot, go ahead.
Okay, let me just ask one.
Go ahead.
Is the search for the data the problem, or is it merely the keeping of the data that's the problem?
Well, people's Fourth Amendment rights state that they're to be protected in their object, papers, persons, effects. But the issue is in both, in keeping and how they find it. In keeping it, such as the CODIS system, the system that keeps people's DNA, what the issue there is it reasonable, do people have a reasonable expectation of privacy if, for instance, they were accused of a crime, had their DNA collected, but were accused later on, or never actually went to trial, or in the collecting of data in the home, for example, people have the most security. If the government or public officials who are going after that information are violating people's Fourth Amendment rights to gain that data, then that becomes the issue.
I think the problem is that we're invading people's Fourth Amendment right of privacy by collecting data that they might not want to be collected. And also, you can look at, sometimes when you collect this data, it's not really effective because, I mean, it's just a lot of information. It doesn't really, a lot of times it doesn't lead to terrorists. So and I think in this circumstance, your right to privacy outweighs the government's interest in security because it's not even necessarily that legitimate.
Okay, let me throw a hypothetical at you that is going to be real world stuff to you in not too long. Suppose that you are university students, you have email accounts through the university, and you're going to a public university, and the four of you get into a conspiracy to traffic in drugs. And the university gets the information, and through your emails, because they look at it, and they turn it over to the police, and you're arrested and charged. Now, same set of facts, except you're attending a private university, and the university looks at your emails, discovers that, and turns it over to the police, and you're charged. Is the Fourth Amendment involved in either case? If so, why? And if so, why not?
In the private university, the Fourth Amendment would not be involved because the private university is not necessarily, it's not associated with government. However, in Stangart v. Loving Care Agency, they held that the employer was not allowed to look at the employee's emails with their attorney.
I'd like to quickly correct my colleague, Ms. Ritter, that private colleges are still associated with the government, but as far as the Fourth Amendment goes, they have their right to freedom of association, and those who choose to associate with the college or with the university will not have as high of a protection because it is a private university. Public universities, on the other hand, ensure more of a right to privacy because of their government-oriented status.
Okay, so I'm a little bit unclear. Are you saying that the evidence can be used against you in both cases, either public or private?
No. I was just saying that it wasn't an absolute divide between the university and the government. But in the case of the private university, in that hypothetical situation, no, the Fourth Amendment will not
Are
apply.
you advocating the abolition of the plain view doctrine?
No, we are not advocating the abolition of the plain view doctrine. We are simply pointing out that in certain circumstances, technology is allowing the search or seizure of certain items possessed by a person that may not be considered by the framers, may not be considered by the framers constitutional.
So doesn't it come down to the question whether a given object may reasonably be regarded as being in plain view?
Yeah, I believe that in California v. Sorello, they allowed planes flying 100 feet over a home to, if they observed something such as marijuana growing in the backyard, they could use the plain view doctrine and then get a warrant or then search and obtain that marijuana. But in Kylo v. United States, the context of thermal scans, they found that these were not allowed because it's more than just looking at something with the naked eye. It's a thermal scan in which you're seeing heat, which really could not be seen with the naked eye.
Well, let's take a third case, satellite surveillance, by which, from a distance of 150 miles, give or take, the satellite can observe and identify objects that would otherwise be indetectable. does the exercise in the context of plain view doctrine then become determining whether identification from that distance is antithetical to one's reasonable expectation of privacy?
Well, you can apply that to the case my colleague, Ms. Chapman, just cited, California v. Sorello. The pictures that the planes took of the defendant's backyard were taken actually thousands of feet above the air. If you had looked at the camera or looked at the view from the plane with the naked eye, it was almost impossible, if not impossible, to see the actual images of the marijuana plants. What they did was they digitally enhanced those pictures so that they could see it, and because it could be seen openly, the open fields, it was established that it was constitutionally protected. So if the satellites that you're speaking of are not intruding like in Kylo, then it would be okay. However, if they went in with an excessive technology that went through walls or something not available to the naked eye, however enhanced, then it would not be constitutional.
But